Greetings from Holy Trinity. It's time for us to have another devotional as we are on our Lenten journey toward the cross. And for our opening prayer, I'm going to read from Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and foes, they shall stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war rise up against me, yet I will be confident. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Do not give me up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they are breathing out violence. I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. And as we are again approaching the hours of Jesus before his death, we're going to find him before Pontius Pilate as he's being tried by Pilate, brought to him by the leaders of the Jewish people. So we're going to read from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 15. As soon as it was morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered him, "You say so." Then the chief priests accused him of many things. Pilate asked him again, "Have you no answer? See how many charges they have brought against you?" But Jesus made no further reply, so that Pilate was amazed. Now at the festival he used to release a prisoner for them, anyone for whom they asked. Now a man called Barabbus was in prison with the rebels who had committed murder during the insurrection. So the crowd came and began to ask Pilate to do for them according to his custom. Then he answered them, "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that the chief priests had handed him over. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have him release Barabbas for them instead. Pilate spoke to them again. "Then what do you wish me to do with the man you call the king of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him." Pilate asked them, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Crucify him." So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. In this text, on a different gospel, as soon as Pilate has made the declaration that Jesus is to be crucified, he says, "I am innocent of this man's blood." We use that phrase in our own culture by saying, "I wash my hands of this. I'm no longer responsible for what takes place." And then Pilate sent Jesus on the Via Dolorosa, the way of suffering. These are the steps that Jesus took from Pilate's house to the cross. In the 14th century, the Franciscans developed a thing called the Stations of the Cross. And there were like 14 stations in which people were to stop on this way of suffering of Jesus, to stop and to meditate and to think about what Jesus had endured for us. Now Pilate gave a choice to the people, to the crowd. You can have Barabbas, who is a revolutionary, a rebel, a murderer, who has called people to take up arms, who is a violent man. Or you can have Jesus, a man of love, a man of compassion. And the crowd chose violence. So Jesus at the Sanhedrin remained silent. And Pilate knew that it was because of the envy and the jealousy of the high priest and the others, that Jesus had become more popular than they, and Pilate knew that that's why they wanted Jesus killed. Fear and insecurity developed them. And since being called the King of the Jews was a capital offense, then they could put Jesus to death. So Pilate asked Jesus, Are you the King of the Jews?" And Jesus said, "You say so." And then Jesus never spoke again. Did Pilate ever wonder why that was, that Jesus didn't speak? So let's look deeper at what's happening here as far as God's relationship to the world. Jesus is an offering, a sacrificial lamb, who is slain for the sins of the world. This was an act of redemption, an act of purpose. Jesus was not some disillusioned prophet, nor some good teacher that had been put to death, because Jesus chose to go to Jerusalem. Jesus chose obedience to God's will. Jesus allowed the cross to be his end. And in the cross, in his death, this was God's victory to save the world. We call this the doctrine of atonement, that we were paid for by Jesus Christ. Our reconciliation with God takes place because Jesus made it happen on the cross. Matthew makes the choice for the crowd very clear. The crowd can be led by force to regain their authority, to regain their taxes, to kick the Romans out, or they can choose someone who would even love the oppressor, who would say that they should double the service that they are demanded. Jesus asks us to choose his way over the way of Barabbas. Pilate made that choice as well, and the people made that choice, wanting to change the world through power and through force, but Jesus would change the world through sacrificial love instead. The crowd shouted, "Release Barabbas." Today we have a choice too. We can put our hope in the authority of the world, the power of the world, or we can put it in the power of love, the kind of sacrificial love that we see that Jesus brings to us. For our closing prayer, I'm going to read from 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 10 and 11. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, support, strengthen, and establish you. To him be the power forever and ever. Amen. Blessings on your Lenten journey.